Okay, picture this. A 911 call. It's really late, and a woman is whispering. She's saying she's been abducted.
Right.
And her captor, he's asleep, just feet away from her. The house is described as, well, yellowing, dilapidated, just filled with filth.
That contrast, the mundane horror of the setting versus the absolute terror she must be feeling. It's chilling.
Exactly. And this is how the world first learned about Shawn Grate, who people started calling the House of Horrors killer. This all started to come out in Ashland, Ohio, back in September 2016.
Yeah, and it began with rescuing this one woman, Jane Doe, but it spiraled very quickly into something much bigger, much darker.
So in this deep dive, we're looking at a documentary, right? It gives us access to those, incredibly tense 911 calls, actual interrogation footage with Grate himself, and analysis from experts trying to figure out, well, how this happened. Our goal today for everyone listening is to kind of break down this really complex, really disturbing case. We want to pull out the key moments, the shocking details, but, without getting completely lost in it all, we're looking for those aha moments, I guess.
And it's important, I think, to remember we're dealing with primary sources here. You hear the actual survivor, Jane Doe, you hear Shawn Grate, you hear the investigators. It's raw.
Definitely raw. Okay, so let's start right there with Jane Doe's rescue. That 911 call, it's almost hard to listen to. She's whispering, trying to figure out where she is, mentions a laundromat nearby.
Yeah, she couldn't even tell the dispatcher the color of the house at first. Imagine that level of disorientation, under that kind of extreme stress.
But somehow she still managed to give these crucial details, like it's one of two houses set back from the street left of the laundromat. She described Shawn, the captor, as maybe 6 feet tall, and she's making this call from inside the house.
While he's asleep, the risk she took. It's just phenomenal courage, pure will to survive right there.
Totally. She said she was nude, tied up, but had somehow gotten partially free. And get this, the bedroom door was rigged to make noise if she tried to open it. And just hear the terror.
And then the police arrive. How did she actually get out?
She had to force open a side door. Apparently the doorknob was missing. Then she escaped.
Wow. Imagine the scene for the officers, too, walking into that unknown, and for her, finally seeing help arrive after that ordeal.
The officers found her completely naked, just frozen in shock, understandably. Inside, they find Shawn Grate. He was 40 at the time, just face down on the bed. And the place. It was just squalor. Yellowing walls, piles and piles of trash, dirty clothes, even discarded stuffed animals in the middle of it all.
That environment itself, it paints such a grim picture, doesn't it?
Yep.
It hints at maybe a much deeper chaos in his life, beyond just the immediate crime.
So at first, the police probably thought, okay, abduction, assault. But once the interrogation started, it became very clear very quickly that this was just the tip of the iceberg.
Right. And the interrogation itself, the documentary, really shows the tactics. How do you even start that conversation?
Yeah, the interrogator was careful, tried to keep it open, not too adversarial. Asking Shawn where he thought they should start. His first request, how to use the bathroom.
A delay tactic, maybe? Control?
Could be. He even denied being searched at first, then admitted, well, yeah, he was naked when they found him.
That kind of initial defensiveness, then admitting the obvious, it suggests maybe feeling exposed, trying to grab back some kind of control, like you said.
Then he starts talking about Jane Doe. Says he met her at the Kroc Center. That's like a Salvation Army community center. Describes it all as pretty normal, lunches, tennis, walks. Said they'd known each other about 6 weeks.
That's a common tactic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Painting this picture of normalcy beforehand. It makes the violence seem even more out of the blue, more jarring.
But he also said she'd kind of drawn a line, friendship only. Wouldn't give him her number, wouldn't let him in her apartment because of her religious beliefs. He also threw in something about child support issues being why he was in Ashland.
Okay, so bringing in outside problems. Maybe trying to look more sympathetic. Or just muddying the waters.
Maybe both. But then he starts contradicting himself, talking about maybe marriage discussions, but also saying she turned him down flat. He even brought up some ex of hers, Daniel, from years ago, saying he lost it when she mentioned him.
The inconsistencies. That's usually a big red flag during interrogations, when the story doesn't quite hang together.
Exactly. So the interrogator starts working the timeline backwards. Jane Doe had been there at his place for about 24 hours, right? Since meeting at her apartment. Shawn described it as fooling around a little bit, then some conflict about intercourse. But he carefully avoided saying the word no when talking about her consent.
That avoidance, that's very telling. It's like he's deliberately trying to downplay or deny that she didn't agree to it. That's a serious issue with understanding boundaries right there.
He did eventually admit hitting her, claimed he lost control because he felt she led him on about marriage, but the interrogator immediately jumped on that timeline. Jane Doe said she'd been there since Sunday evening. This was Tuesday morning. That's way more than 24 hours.
Right, so her timeline directly contradicts his story, undermines his whole version of events.
Then he admits tying her up. At first, he kind of brushed it off, but then admitted, yeah, multiple times. Jane Doe's story is just terrifying. He lured her there, promising clothes. They were reading the Bible together.
Carrying the Bible.
Yeah. Then suddenly, he just snapped, smashed the Bible, said, "You're not going anywhere."
Yeah.
She tried to fight. He choked her.
Wow. That sudden switch from something seemingly calm, even religious, to extreme violence.
The documentary had an assault expert who called it a classic Jekyll and Hyde thing. You know, this normal facade, then boom, violence. And Shawn's reason for holding her is that he wanted to know if she'd marry him and wanted her to relax while tied up.
That reasoning is just completely irrational. It shows such a profound lack of empathy, a really distorted view of reality. It's a pattern we'll see again, unfortunately.
And the details of how he restrained her,
Yeah.
straps on the mattress, he shaved a heart into her pubic hair, put a restraint around her neck.
That's about humiliation and control, isn't it? Physical and psychological degradation.
And even after admitting all this, the abduction, the violence, he actually claimed it was because he cared about her.
Yeah.
He also got judgmental about her religion, saying she was hiding behind the Bible. Plus, his story about how many times they had intercourse kept changing.
It just paints this picture of someone obsessed with control, justifying horrific acts with these twisted ideas of care or judgment. It's deeply, deeply disturbed.
Then the interrogation shifts. The detective brings up another name. Elizabeth Griffith. She was 29, a local woman, missing since August 15th.
Okay, so the investigators are starting to connect dots, looking for patterns. That's crucial police work.
Elizabeth was described as outgoing, friendly, involved in church, also went to the Kroc Center. But she also had some serious mental health struggles. Paranoid schizophrenia with mania, apparently called a mental health line often, sometimes missed appointments.
Which, tragically, might have made her more vulnerable. Her disappearance would have been really worrying for people who knew her.
Shawn admitted he knew her, saw her at the Kroc Center, played badminton with her, but he denied any romantic interest, said not like that. Claimed someone at the Kroc Center told him she might be in mental hospital.
So he knew she was missing, and he knew her from the same place he met Jane Doe. That's definitely raising red flags for the police.
Yeah, the interrogator was clearly skeptical, started pressing him directly about Elizabeth's disappearance. And that's when, well, it just took another sharp turn. Shawn, almost casually, confesses to another murder.
Not Elizabeth.
No. A woman he first called Martha, turned out her name was Candace Cunningham.
Wow. Just volunteers another murder. Out of the blue. That's incredibly chilling. The scope of this is getting wider.
Candace had been found in the woods, missing since June. Shawn even pointed to a scratch on his forehead and said it was from her. She'd apparently lived with him in a vacant house, told her mom she was moving to North Carolina, met the perfect guy.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. She had hoped for something better.
Yeah. She had 2 kids who weren't in her custody. Friends said she was loud, helpful, but her relationship with Shawn was volatile. Her Facebook status even said married.
So, a complicated picture,
Yeah.
but clearly a connection there. What did he say happened?
His story started with this threat he apparently made to her. Lay your ass down in the woods if you lied to me again. He tried to make it sound like an accident.
It wasn't.
No. Then he admitted strangling her, claimed she attacked him with a bag of tobacco, and then said, really casually, that she wanted to die anyway because she had a bad record.
That victim blaming, that casual disregard, it's sickening. Did he show them how?
Yes. He actually demonstrated the strangulation on camera for them.
Unbelievable.
He admitted keeping her body for 3 days. 3 days! While he was still just, walking around town like normal. Said he thought she could have gotten help if she'd wanted to.
Again, shifting blame. As if she had a choice after he attacked her.
Candace did have her own struggles, mental health, some drug use mentioned. Shawn then actually led the police to her body in the woods. He also admitted he kept the body overnight at first, then moved it. And later. He burned down the house they'd lived in, with her stuff inside, trying to get rid of evidence.
Keeping the body, moving it, burning evidence. That's cold calculation. A complete lack of respect for her life, even after death.
Then, another bomb drops. Shawn mentions another victim, inside the house, Elizabeth Griffith. Said her body was in an upstairs closet.
So the police's earlier suspicions are right. God, this is just unfolding horror upon horror.
His story about Elizabeth. He claimed she wanted more initially, said they played Yahtzee at her place, went to his for barbecue chicken, then she called later, wanted to play more Yahtzee, met at the YMCA, walked back to his place. He alleges she made moves on him.
It's that pattern again, isn't it?
Yeah.
And seemingly innocent start, then he claims the woman initiated something.
Right. He denied intercourse, but admitted choking her from behind.
Just like that.
Well, he made some awful flippant joke first about helping her die, then admitted, yeah, he strangled her. He demonstrated this one on video too. Then put her body in the closet.
That joke, it just shows this complete detachment from the gravity of what he's done. Like violence is normal, even funny in his mind.
It doesn't stop. He then says there's another body in the basement. A woman named Stacy said she died less than a week before he was caught.
Less than a week. He was escalating rapidly.
Stacy Stanley, 43 years old, struggling with heroin addiction. She met Shawn totally by chance, got a flat tire on September 8th. He offered help.
Oh, no. Just random bad luck meeting him.
Yeah. He changed the tire, she bought him coffee at a gas station, they left together. He claimed they kissed, then things went all bad.
And his justification this time.
Flashbacks, he said. To other women, his mother claims Stacy was playing innocent after he helped her. And he videotaped this assault too, then dragged her body to the basement, covered it with trash.
Videotaping again, that's predatory and suggests maybe wanting to relive it. Extremely disturbing.
Stacy had been reported missing September 10th. Her car was found abandoned. Shawn admitted driving it, taking money from her purse. He even made some callous remark about her telling on herself about getting government assistance.
Just zero empathy, taking her money after killing her.
He said he kept her alive for about an hour after the first attack, then killed her because he didn't have a choice after she acted up.
Didn't have a choice. As if murder is the only option.
And remember how he first said 4 victims, then corrected himself? That made investigators really worry there might be even more.
Yeah, you'd have to wonder. Who else could there be?
And there was a cold case from way back around 2005. Skeletal remains found in Marion County in 2007, never identified, until Shawn started talking.
Over a decade earlier.
Yeah. He apparently hesitated to talk about this one because it was so long ago. Said the victim's name was maybe Dana?
And they identified her.
Eventually, yes. DNA confirmed it was Dana Nicole Lowry. She was 23 when she died. And this connected back to something Shawn had mentioned earlier, his mom and a magazine saleswoman named Dana.
So Dana Lowry was selling magazines.
Yes. Reported missing in 2006. Shawn said he met her, took her to his grandparents' house where he was doing some remodeling, got into an argument about money he thought she'd ripped off his mother.
That theme again. Protecting his mother, or his perception of it, leading to violence.
He strangled her. Said her nose bled, she wet herself, dragged her to the basement. But she wasn't dead. She regained consciousness. So he stabbed her in the neck, put her body in his trunk, dumped it somewhere, burned the blankets from the trunk, and incredibly, he had company over that same evening after putting her body in the basement.
Had people over while her body was in the house. That level of compartmentalization is just mind-boggling.
And he went back months later to burn more evidence at the dump site.
Just covering his tracks, even long after the fact.
The documentary also mentioned some other really disturbing finds in the house, like a pole covered in a sock and condoms, Shawn admitted. He used it to prop Elizabeth Griffith's mouth open.
Why?
To let flies get in, to speed up decomposition, reduce the smell.
That is calculated, horrific depravity. It's hard to even process that level of methodical gruesomeness.
He also confessed to another murder, Rebecca Lacey. Though her father actually believed Shawn didn't do it, Rebecca had addiction issues, involved in prostitution, met Shawn in Mansfield.
And Shawn's story?
Self-defense, he claimed. Said she tried to rob him. Described this internal debate, let her live or kill her. Decided to kill her. Strangled her, put her body in a plastic golf cart, left it by a tree.
So even if he claims self-defense, the decision to kill, the disposal, it fits the pattern.
Her body was found a month after she vanished. Initially ruled an overdose. Shawn also talked about assaulting another woman, Trista, but let her go. Why? Because she submitted. Didn't fight back enough, apparently.
So control, submission.
Yeah.
That seems key to his twisted logic. Whether someone lived or died potentially hinged on how much they resisted or didn't.
Unbelievably, while he was in jail, he started getting fan mail.
Seriously, fan mail.
Yeah. And he talked about being interested in the Zodiac killer, Said he identified with the Zodiac's patience, his control. He also said he hoped the victims' families could forgive him.
That juxtaposition,
Yeah.
fascination with a killer, asking for forgiveness, it's complex, maybe manipulative.
His feelings about jail seemed all over the place, too. Sometimes accepting it, other times getting really angry, having violent thoughts again.
Not exactly remorseful then.
The documentary touched on his background, too. Troubled upbringing, young mom with alcoholism, unstable family, him having to care for siblings, lots of conflict with his mother, felt she was a bad influence.
The difficult past can certainly contribute to problems, but it never excuses this level of violence, obviously.
Psychological evaluations found a lot going on: attachment disorder, learning disabilities, dyslexia, ADHD, bipolar disorder, a severe personality disorder, borderline IQ, also a history of concussions in childhood.
So a complex mix of potential psychological and maybe even neurological issues doesn't explain everything, but adds layers to the picture.
He also talked about dreams, visions, said he had premonitions about meeting people, and he
Mm.
brought up God, religion quite a bit, but had this really skewed morality. Like, he corrected an investigator once for saying my word, said he wanted the death penalty, and had this bizarre idea that welfare checks had somehow killed his victims' minds, and he was like a tax collector.
A tax collector. That justification is completely detached from reality, a warped worldview trying to make sense of or excuse the inexcusable. What was his final thought?
Just told people to be real with herself. Cryptic.
Hmm?
Herself. Interesting.
So, yeah, this deep dive, it's been heavy. We've looked at 5 confirmed murders, watched how this guy, Shawn Grate, went from seemingly average to a serial killer, hidden in plain sight for years.
And I think the key takeaway really is how this perfect storm formed.
Sure.
A deeply troubled past, yes, maybe neurological issues, but crucially, this development of a twisted personal ideology that allowed him, in his mind, to justify these horrific acts.
Which leaves us with that really unsettling question, doesn't it? What lets someone go down that path? Are there warning signs we miss? How does society spot and maybe intervene before it gets to this point? Thinking about his justifications, his warped logic, and the absolute devastation left behind for those families. It's a lot to process.